In today's video, I'm going to be showing you a simple way to transfer your fit from one bike to another. I built a new bike this year and spent a lot of time getting it properly fitted. While my new bike feels great, my old bike now feels strange and uncomfortable. So this is the quick and easy method that I use to transfer my new fit to my old bike. To start, you'll need to put your bike into a corner with the rear wheel touching the back wall and the handlebar touching the side wall. From here, we'll use a tape measure to find the first reference point on the bike, which is the center of the bottom bracket. Measure the horizontal and vertical distances to the center of the bottom bracket from the floor and the wall respectively. Next, measure the horizontal distance from the wall to the top center of the saddle, and then also the vertical distance from the ground to the top center of the saddle. Now repeat these steps to the center of the handlebar as well. To get our final measurements, we need to subtract the position of the bottom bracket from the position of the components. In the case of the seat, this gives me a height of 73 centimeters and a setback of 22.5 centimeters. For the handlebar, the height is 64 centimeters and the reach is 47 centimeters. Now we'll be repeating all of these steps on the second bike to get the corresponding measurements and see where things need to be adjusted. Repeat the entire process, measuring the X and Y to the bottom bracket, the top center of the seat, and the center of the handlebars. So after measuring both bikes, the biggest difference we can see is the saddle and handlebar height between the bikes. The Specialized seat is 2 centimeters higher and the handlebars are 1.5 centimeters lower, both of which I found uncomfortable when I rode it a few times mid-season. So just a quick side note here before we make any adjustments. I wanted to test the accuracy of the phone's Measure app compared to the tape measure method. So I redid all of the measurements for the Argon. I found all of the measurements using the Measure app were off from the actual, with the seat height being the biggest difference, off by 7 centimeters. The handlebar measurements were a similar story, with the reach being off by 5.5 centimeters. So I really wouldn't recommend this method since it's nowhere close to accurate enough to match positions. With the measuring done, the next step is to adjust the old bike, and I'm going to bring the bike back to the workshop to make those changes. First, I'm going to mark out the 2 centimeter adjustment for the seat height. I'm marking out the new height with a marker before loosening the seat clamp and lowering the seat post. Just a note, if you're on a carbon bike, make sure you've got some carbon grip paste on your seat post. Also, if you have a round seat post, you're going to need to make sure it's centered, which I do by lightly tapping the seat into alignment. Now we can retighten the seat post clamp, which is best done with a torque wrench. Adjust the wrench to the specified torque, in my case 6.2 Newton meters, and turn the wrench until you get a click. And finally, I'll use electrical tape to remark the saddle position. Now I can move up to the handlebar area. My handlebars need to be raised, and this can be done in 2 different ways. Either spacers can be added under the stem, or the stem itself can be flipped to angle upwards to give the height. In my case, the steerer tube is cut quite short, so I need to play around with the stem angle to get my height. I spent the next 20 minutes or so measuring and playing with stem angles, only to realize I'm going to need a new stem to hit the proper height for the handlebars. So I ended up just reinstalling the stem back in its original position, but at least I can show you how to put it back together. Loosely reattach the stem and top cap, bars, and faceplate. Then tighten the faceplate bolts evenly so that there's an even gap on the top and bottom sections, and then use a torque wrench to give the faceplate bolts their final tighten. At this point, the stem is still loose and the headset also needs tensioning, so I'll put the bike on the ground to tighten these up. Tighten down the top cap to ensure there's no headset play and that the bars spin smoothly. Then align the stem and tighten the stem bolts to their specified torque. Double check for headset play and smooth steering, and that's it. You should now have 2 bikes with exactly the same fit and have no trouble swapping between them for your rides.